Hello and welcome to Free the Mind UK, a chat with a therapist. My name is Dave Carson. I'm your host for this evening. And I've got a really interesting guest on tonight in the way of Genevieve Anais. And she's going to be explaining about the breath connection and how important it is for our well-being. And she's also going to be doing a demonstration that we can all get involved in. So it's all exciting stuff. But before I bring Genevieve on, I'm going to play our intro video. Here we go. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're not. I love it when this happens. It's fantastic. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that, everybody. Boom.
Not sure what therapy to choose? Free the Mind UK presents A Chat with a Therapist. Join us live for an up-close informal discussion of the various holistic therapies available, helping you make that important choice.
Well, without further ado, Genevieve, welcome.
Hello.
I'm so excited about tonight because there's so much to learn about conscious breathing and the benefits and everything. And I'm sure the people that are watching are also, very excited about this. And I'm really pleased to have you on. So generally, it's always nice to get a bit of a background, how you sort of got into this type of thing.
Well, hi, David. Well, I've spent all my life. I've always been interested in spirituality, the alternative. Seeing different people managing life from different angles, or not managing life, and also mental health as well. I've always been curious about that because I myself had I was very troubled when I was younger. But it was a trauma based. A bit of my back history is that I was attacked when I was younger. I was attacked when I was 7 by a neighbour that tried to rape me, and I fought him off. But there was no counselling, there was no help. It was, and obviously my mum didn't know how to, she wouldn't know how to heal that sort of trauma. So it created massive social anxiety. It was a friend of the family, someone I trusted. And it's only recently actually that I've really, connected that why I always had such bad social anxiety, because my trust was taken away at a very early age, violently. He tried to rape me, but he didn't succeed, fortunately. The police were called and nothing actually happened to him, which was disgraceful. And so I grew up very anxious about my environment. I was very cautious. It wasn't until I was about 20 years old that I was very quiet before then. I'd be myself around close friends, but in social situations, I was more, some people that knew me back then would say I was more of an observer. I'd really be, and I still very much observe my environment. And then through the years, the trauma, the effect that trauma had on me sent me into a spiral of depression and deep anxiety. And so then through different practices and my interests, I stumbled across yoga. And then during my practice, when I was doing my yoga, I just came across that I just felt such a sense of peace. And I used to smoke. I was a very heavy smoker, and the yoga practice helped me to stop smoking. It calmed my system down enough to be able to really have a logical conversation with myself, enough to know what I didn't want to do, what I didn't want to be reactive and doing that to myself anymore. And also very aware of my lung space when you practice yoga, pranayama, and breath connection. So then I started to do yoga, and then practicing pranayama, really getting in tune with my breathing practices. And then I went to a darkness retreat, which was incredible, which was 6 days of, so you're immersed in pitch black for 6 days. And then so you're deprived of all stimulation, so no phone, no reading, no lights, no talking. You don't know what you're eating, so you don't know what you're eating, you don't know what time of day it is. It's to help you to detach from the external and discover what's happening inside.
Wow.
So at this retreat I went to, which was incredible, I done a deep dynamic breathwork session, which was absolutely mind-blowing. It's what some people refer to as holotropic breathwork. It is holotropic breathwork, but there's many brand names to describe deep dynamic breathing. There's shamanic breathing, there's rebirth, they call it rebirth, and all different types of deep spiritual healing trauma breathing, breath work that helps you to get to the root of what's happening unconsciously, in your unconscious and your coping mechanism. So I've done this deep breath work practice that just blew me away, and it just made me tune into my body. And I felt everything. It was like every experience I'd ever experienced, and every bit of trauma, every bit of sadness showed up in my body when I was doing this breath work in complete darkness. And I was obviously a little afraid, because I was like, I didn't know what to expect.
Probably a very vulnerable feeling, I'm guessing. Yeah,
very vulnerable, but also the facilitator there was a wonderful facilitator. And so I felt very safe with, there was four of us all together. And the feeling and the experience was just so profound, and so showed me how deep that we hold on to things, that it made me even more curious as to how amazing breath connection is. And I call it breath connection because when you say breath work, it sounds like a job. It's actually the most beautiful, life-changing practice that we should all be, well, not should, and there's no should, but which will just take you back to yourself and discover things about yourself that you just didn't know. And then I had another experience which was incredible in a jungle. I went to, and I wasn't expecting, because it's different every time. I ended up going into a jungle, and because of the previous experience of having this breath connection and what it showed me, I wasn't prepared for what happened on this other time when I went into this deep dynamic breath work. And I released everything. I didn't even realize that I was carrying that much tears.
Wow.
I cried and cried, and I wouldn't normally cry like that in front of other people. I would have always suppressed it. And I just cried, but it was a kind of crying that I felt like 10 years younger when I come out of it. I just felt like this whole something had been released there that I didn't even realize that I was carrying, and it was the most. I felt like it was like it was a reboot. It was like a new beginning. And then I thought, I have to share this with the world, and then it made me go even deeper. I went into more study, and reading more and more, and just more and more my practice, and it's it's helped me to overcome my social anxiety. I used to many times when I was younger, especially when I was going through the trauma and then my choices in relationship, how I managed my emotions. I was all over the show. I didn't deal with my emotions very well. I didn't regulate my emotions very well. And even now, I'm 53 now, and I'm still learning so much about myself. And sometimes when I sit in my breath connection, I cry, and I hold space for myself, and I realize just how much I'm feeling and how deeply I'm feeling things. But because we're so busy, often we're so busy with life, and we're so plugged into the energy field of all that is everybody else's energy, their thinking, electrical influence, the stories of the past, the stories of our peers. We're so connected to this, where we're so in our heads, and we're running on these programs, and these programs are just stories. They're stories. They're not even who we are. Most of us don't even know who we are because we've never slowed down enough and gone inside to really acknowledge how we feel inside. Most of us, many of us, not all, but many of us are managing life from a grief perspective. We've learned to not let ourselves really feel into what is painful and feel into what has hurt. You know,
it's interesting you say that, actually, because I've got the belief system that life is pretty much all about letting go, you know, and something I discovered quite a number of years ago. And it is, you know, you let go each day, you know, like childhood, girlfriends, wives, parents, dogs, cats, everything. It's just about letting go until the ultimate letting go, you know.
yes. Yeah, and also as well with I do it when I do breath work, grief breath work. It's connecting you back to your heart center, because the reason why we feel so much about the people that we love, the reason why grief hurts so much is because it's in our hearts. It's like it's just so it's what we are. It's love, and so helping people to move through their grief. And it's not about letting go of that person, it's about letting go of the conditions that are around. The one definite thing we have in life is death. Life and death is the most definite thing we have. And when you are living in grief and not allowing yourself to really sit with how you feel and nurture it like you would if a child's crying, you will nurture that child. You won't just leave them. And so all these feelings that we carry inside that we're not aware of, that we can connect to through breath connection, is why I'm so passionate about this. Not just for grief, for honouring this amazing gift of life, to be connected to. I mean, life is an absolute gift and so beautiful. The only thing that is wrong with life is that the people that are managing our lives, that we've allowed to manage our lives, aren't managing our lives very well. So what is the answer to that? The answer is to come back to your center and find out, how do I manage my own life? How do I unravel everything? And you're not going to get the answers outside of you.
Never.
The answers are always inside. And also, as well, if you're not breathing properly, you are not living your optimal life. You are not living and experiencing life the best. You are living in a mediocre way, because your breath, your sacred prana, which is the first thing you do once you're disconnected from your umbilical cord, and the last thing you do when you take your last breath, when you go and move on to the next dimension, or however somebody views that part of their journey, but connecting to your sacred prana gives you the experience now in the now. This is where you are. You're in the now. You're not in the past and you're not in the future. You're in the now. And so if we look at the history as well, I wanted to bring up a big of where actually the history of what our ancestors were like when they were breathing. And scientific study has shown that our ancestors actually had bigger sinus cavities.
Okay.
And the reason why our ancestors had bigger sinus cavity was also to do with diet. So most of us, well, a lot of people don't know this, but many people no longer masticate. They no longer masticate like we did before we were able to cook food and the industrialization of food.
Mm-hmm.
Food would have been scarce. It would have been uncooked. You would have been chewing your food and using your facial muscles to masticate your food.
Mm-hmm.
But as food changed, the food became more processed, and the industrialization of food and also cooked food, we lost our masticate. We slowed down with the mastication, and food was very quickly we consume it and swallow it very quickly. And so what happened was we had more calories coming into our body, and more calories, which made our brains bigger, and our brains grew bigger. So where's the brain going to go? It puts pressure on. So it had to make room. So our sinuses became smaller.
Wow.
To make room.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
Through the industrialization of food. So then our sinuses became smaller to accommodate the size of our brain from more calories, which compromised our sinuses. And so also what is also done is actually that has changed, because we need to retrain ourselves. We haven't retrained ourselves to accommodate for that factor.
Mm-hmm.
Basically through evolution and also through modern living, and like originally we were in tribes. And so we would have had somebody that was a protector. We would have had somebody that cooked. There would have been somebody that played with the children. There would have been. We wouldn't be individually on our own be doing it all. We'd all have a place within our community. But obviously, as time's gone on and we've been very much separated and brought into this modern slave system, we have become. We've had a lot. We tend to do all of it on our own. We're dealing with the financial side. We're dealing with the chronic health conditions that are again to do with not breathing correct. We've been very much separated. Mental health has very much separated our family units, and so what that does to the system and what it does to us. We are survival machines, and as survival machines, if we react to our environment, it's called the sympathetic nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And it's autonomic nervous system, which means that we are reacting. So as energy comes in, input comes in, we are reacting to it. You'll notice, example being, when a car is coming at you, or if you're going to be punched in the face, you go, your automatic is, that is, and the reason you'll do that inhale, is to speed up your adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
Get your body moving quick, get the oxygen and the blood pumping into your limbs quickly. I'm in a dangerous environment. I'm not feeling safe. So you breathe in, and it's preparing you ready for any form of threat. So because we're not in our original tribe environment where there would have been respite, rest, and digestion, we're so plugged in, schedules, family, where's the money coming from, mental health, dealing with what we're witnessing around the world. And what happens to us as a species is that we are empathetic beings. We feel so much love. But when you're witnessing so much destruction, and we're seeing our brothers and sisters being hurt and wounded, children being bombed, for example, what this does to our system is it puts us into fight and flight, because we know that is wrong, but we don't know what to do about it. And so what it does is it puts you into I'm in a threat situation. My brothers and sisters are in a threat situation. So when that happens, we go into fight flight. And then as well as dealing with this, we're dealing with looking after our families while we are in fight flight. We're already traumatized, let alone the other traumas. You know, many people have been through what I've been through. They were sexually abused. They were, they've been in, and there hasn't been enough help, mental health help to help people. That's just one area. Then you've got acknowledging that our brothers and sisters are being hurt. That's another factor. Then you're wondering, is the food that I'm eating, is this food good for me? And obviously, if you've done any research, we know that very much our food is being manipulated. What this does to the system, this massively attacks our nervous system. And so again, our body is an amazing machine that knows when it's having something put into it that doesn't belong in it. And everything starts in the gut, rest and digestion, which is so what the first thing you would do when you get in from work, what do? You go, you let out a breath. That is letting it all go, letting it all out, which is rest and digestion. So if you're putting food into your body that is toxic, what that actually does to your adrenal system is that your body wants to heal you quickly. It doesn't want you to have poison in your system. So it will send your adrenals into action. And so your body's always having to process this toxic food, toxic sky, the stuff that we're seeing in the sky at present, the stuff that we're breathing in. If your body with all those influences is continually having to be on alert, having to clean itself, it's never getting a chance to have proper rest and digestion. And what happens with your breathing is that when you go into fight flight, your body, it will send your adrenaline through your body and it will prepare you ready for battle, ready for threat. And how it does that is that it takes the oxygen and blood supply and puts it into your limbs because it wants to get you ready to run, ready to fight, the body is so confused. It's so overwhelmed with this toxic environment. And so what happens if you're not getting the oxygen supply to your digestion and your internal organs because you are so plugged into this unhealthy reality, unhealthy stuff that we're seeing on the media, we're seeing on the news, on the TV, which is not designed to benefit us whatsoever. In fact, it's just keeping us in that shock state.
Fear-based, isn't it? It's you don't get very much good news on there, Genevieve, do we?
No.
You're absolutely right. It's a totally fear-based society we live in, and it's so difficult for a lot of people to function properly. They think they're probably functioning, but there's a good chance they're eating crappy food. They're not getting a chance to sit down with themselves, take some time out for themselves, constantly stressed, like you said.
Of course, exactly. Our bodies are massively stressed. So of course, if you're breathing in a fight response because your body wants to protect you, it's going to be observant of the environment. What happens is that, so if you watch me when I breathe through my mouth, and when you breathe through your mouth, because let's say when you breathe through your nose, which is you'd have had enough your nasal cavities would have been large like our ancestors, how we would have been, we were through.
So we would have got more air in our bodies before.
So obviously through the influences in our environment, the industrialization of food, and also the toxicity of the food, we're in fight flight. And because our sinuses aren't as big as they were, and we're obviously having this influence on our body, what happens is that we are in fight flight, and so the body wants to get oxygen in quickly when it's in that state. And so because you've not adapted to your nasal passages through correct breathing, which is nasal breathing, you'll often see people, you'll see them on the treadmill, you'll see them
Yeah.
They're breathing in through their mouth. If you see someone running, or if you see somebody concentrating, they're breathing in through their mouth. And what happens when you breathe in through your mouth, this is a massive cause for dental decay, is that pH level in your mouth, of your spit in your mouth, is to balance it's your pH level. It's in all of your anything wet in your body everything has a pH level. And so if you're breathing in your mouth constantly, breathing in the toxicity that's coming from, we see all these lines in the sky, which is, I believe, is very toxic to us, and it's not from the planes.
When indeed agree with that.
From your not from commercial domestic flights, etc. When you're breathing that in into your chest, and you're also already in fight flight, you're breathing all these little particles straight into your mouth, that go straight into your lungs. You actually should be breathing in through your nose. There's a filtration system in your nose that actually, so when it goes in, it goes through some turbines, you've got all the mucous membrane inside, which will catch those tiny little particles that are in the environment right now. They're seeing it on their cars. They're saying, so it's obviously, it's in, when the rain comes down, it's in the environment. So if you're breathing, if you're breathing in your mouth all the time, you're taking it straight into your lungs. And so what happens is when you breathe in through your nose, you actually get 20% more oxygen saturation. The reason that is, so when you're in fight flight, you're only breathing, so here, yeah. So if you practice, if everyone is watching, if you just breathe in through your mouth and follow where the air goes in your body. It's only going here when you breathe in. So you're actually only using a third of your lungs. Imagine if you look at it from a visual, if you had a diagram, if you had a visual picture of the air coming in, so it's only reaching about here. It's going to this section and then back out. Now this section here is called the sympathetic nervous system, this part of the lung at the top. And the sympathetic means it's reacting, it's like when you sympathize. I have sympathy. I sympathize with my environment. So you're only getting, not only are you messing with your pH because you're drying your mouth out through mouth breathing, you're affecting the pH level, which causes decay in your teeth. You are also using these muscles here, using these muscles here just to pull the air in only to this little fraction of your lungs, which is a massive contribution towards snoring and sleep apnea, because these muscles here,
of course,
they become loose. And what happens is when you breathe through your mouth, the palate at the top of your mouth becomes almost like an arched up, because your body it will adapt to what you're putting in. If you're only breathing in a small amount of air, it wants as much to get in as possible, so it will make as much space in there to get that. So as you feel the air hit the roof of your mouth, if you now practice breathing through your nose, breathe through your nose and follow where the air goes. You engage with the diaphragm, which is covered in fascia. And so most of us, because we are in fight-flight state, our diaphragm is not moving at all. It's a bit like a jellyfish. So someone's getting things back to front. Like a jellyfish moving inside. And what happens is, and they've seen this on MRI, is that when you breathe through your nose and you engage in diaphragm breathing in belly, I've got a Buddha belly, big Buddha belly out. Not only are you telling your body that you're safe, that rest and digestion. You're telling it it's safe, it's not in fight flight. You're also getting 20% more oxygen because you're opening up the bottom of your lungs, really bringing the air into the bottom part of your lung capacity. And this makes more oxygen saturation at the bottom of your lungs, which gives you 20% more oxygen. And they've seen on MRI that 33% within 3 minutes, about 33% increase in spinal fluid, which moves with each breath in and out along your spine, up and down your spine, and your spinal fluid and nerve endings gives all your nutrients, oxygen, blood supply, everything increases by 33%. 33, sometimes 38% within minutes of. So it's a win-win breathing practice. Learning to breathe through your nose, and what it does is it balances up. So your body is alkaline and acid. When you calm your system down, you change the pH level of your blood. When you're in a stressed out state, your pH, your blood becomes very acidic. We can also when we're breathing too fast or we're breathing too many breaths, we actually burn off our CO2, and the CO2 is actually needed for our oxygen. It's needed for the oxygen exchange, so the oxygen can flood our body. So if we're in that heightened state and we're only breathing a third, we are not living our optimal self at all, not optimal health. And they've done studies. So I wanted to say this, that your sinuses, I've got so much information here because there's so much to share. Sinuses, when you breathe in through your nose, there's sinus sacs that produce nitric oxide.
Okay.
Nitric oxide is a vasodilator, which means it opens up all your vessels. They use it in Viagra. It's one of the ingredients they use in Viagra.
Wow.
Yeah. To open up all your vessels. So if you imagine it from this perspective, why it affects sexual performance, not breathing properly, is that if you're not breathing, you're only oxygenating the upper chamber of your lungs and not oxygenating the rest of your body. It makes sense that you're not getting oxygen into all the areas of your body. Why many people have erectile dysfunction, because they're not getting proper oxygen supply around their body because they're in fight flight. It's so logical, isn't it?
I tell you what, there's so much information associated with breathing, and most people have got no idea about any of this. I mean, I know a little bit about breathing, but the stuff you've been talking about, I honestly didn't have any idea. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. So I wanted to bring up. So I wanted to talk about the actual metabolism.
Okay.
Is that a lot of people that are overweight, sometimes you'll hear them say, well, I only eat a little bit, and they're trying their best to eat a little bit. And what is happening is that if you're not correct breathing, if your body's not getting in the right nutrients and your body's not getting enough oxygen, and you're only eating a small amount, the body will try and hold on to as much energy from that food as it possibly can. And because if you're overweight, you're already putting a strain on your heart. What the body will do is it will protect you. It will slow down your metabolism because it wants to protect your heart. And so it makes sense that the more you breathe into your body and get your body, because your prana, your breath is actually energy. It's your energy. So if you're not, it's your sacred life force. So if you're not getting it and you're compromised, the body will adjust. It will adjust to help to protect your heart.
I was gonna go on. Sorry, Genevieve. I know there's a lot of people, like I said before, they don't know about conscious breathing. It's just come into their lives, sort of thing. Because we haven't been educated about it, maybe from school times. But there is one guy that a lot of people have heard of. That it's a Wim Hof. The Wim Hof that sort of brought a particular breathing technique to the masses somewhat. You know, a lot of people have heard of him. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure, like his breathing technique's actually a mouth breathing technique.
Yes, because but he does different techniques. But what happens is that our body, like I said, for me, is like ANS, the autonomic nervous system, means that our bodies are responding to our environment. They're responding from our biological perspective, like to keep us alive, running almost automatically. Like, you know, you breathe still when you sleep. You know, you don't say, oh, I'm going to go in my system, I'm going to go to the toilet. It does it all for you. This whole beautiful machine's working. And so what happens is, like, we're in fight flight. Many of us, even if you think you're the coolest of the cool, you're scheduled. There's a schedule. We're under time. You know, everything's like, got to do that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, waiting for the weekend. What am I going to do at the weekend? When am I going to go on holiday? You know, what's happening in the world? You know, what's happening to the sky? You know, there's just so much, like, even if you're the coolest of the cool. And so basically what happens is, when you do mouth breathing consciously, you're telling the body that I'm safe. You're telling the body, you're actually calming down your nervous system, and you're firing up your system. You're actually, yes, it makes sense, does it? So you're overriding automatic response.
It was interesting because I used to enjoy that technique because I'd get the tingles in the body, you know, and if I did like 10 rounds of it, it felt like I was on some sort of drug. Do you know what I mean? I found it quite intriguing. But I was quite conscious of the mouth breathing, and I started doing it through the nose, you know, bit like fire breath, you know, is it called fire breath? It's more the stomach in it, I guess. But like
breath of fire, and then shining skull. Yeah, so that, you know, so temporarily, if you were breathing like that all the time, which is what we tend to do, then you are really challenging your system. You're putting your body through a lot. So when you get into when you make a conscious decision, and you get into that breath, it's almost like a form of hyperventilation, but it's not, because hyperventilation happens when there isn't control. So you are in control. And so you override, and it's like you are actually challenging the system, but saying to the system that it's okay, because you're very conscious of what you're doing.
It's conscious,
Conscious breathing, yes.
Can I just say, Genevieve, I'm going to have to interrupt you, because we've had a couple of people on here. Like, we've had Craig. He says hello to us. He's watching. I don't know if you know Kevin Hooper. Kevin Hooper, he's watching. He says, good evening, Genevieve. I just wanted to say,
I just wanted to say, we've only got 2 minutes before we actually start the breath. Well, 2 minutes before we go into breath connection. There is so much more I can share into the breath connection practice. We've got a 20-minute practice.
Okay.
So, but I wanted to get a few points across now before we do that.
Okay.
Is that when you breathe properly, when you get into proper breath connection, when you start doing proper breathing practices, which helps anxiety, helps to slow down your heart rate, helps to elevate, the different practices will help you to energize. When you do proper breathwork connection, it helps your liver to detox faster. So given the environmental influences that we're under at the moment, breath connection is one of the best things that you can do for yourself to get your liver cleaning your system faster. And also, when you do breath work, when you are connecting to your breath and your system is all in sync and you're oxygenating your body properly, it will help your cells to detox. I cannot emphasize this enough, how important it is, given our skies right now, how important it is to really get into deep breathing. There's also a breath practice, as well as breath of fire. And what happens is, it actually cleans your digestion. It cleans all your cells. It fires it up. It cleans your lungs. So I wanted to say this as well, that many people as well, they haven't really known where to find the resources to be able to learn these practices. Many people haven't got the mental health help. They're overwhelmed with how to deal with their finances, how to pay, why they're paying, who they're paying, everything where people are overwhelmed with. And I'm connected to some beautiful projects and people, communities that are growing thick and fast, that really want to help everybody to be able to become the best version of themselves, to learn how to do correct breathing. We're going to have the best therapists, the best teachers, the best conscious education, the best financial advisors, the best equipment. So, and we have many projects on agriculture, teaching people how to grow their own food so they know what they're eating. And so I'm connected to a beautiful community called OneMindCan.org, who are doing some wonderful work within the community, helping the communities to learn to take better care of themselves, to get involved with each other, with the elders, with bringing the youth and the elders together. Is that we're helping everyone to heal. And also there is a beautiful healing centres called the Olive Branch, which is going to be there in England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales. And we are going to have like super centres, which is going to have everything all under one roof for people to come and heal, to learn how to really manage their life, to learn to lose this fear. So many of us are in fear. We don't know why we're doing what we do, and we go along with what we're being told. We go along with what we're seeing on the TV. It's like and what we're hearing on the radio. This is just stories made up by who? Because what I am seeing within the communities and what I'm seeing within all the beautiful healers that I spend time with, the people that really want to make a difference and bring us back to unity, is that there isn't any to fear, that there's so much love to share amongst our communities. There's so many people that want to help you. And so many people that want to help you to heal. There's so many people that want to make a difference in your life. And so I'd suggest switching off the TV and connect to our community projects, find out and learn how to grow your own food, learn how to take the best care of yourself, learn how to deal with your addictions, why you have the addictions, and come back to your breath connection. That is where it's at, is learning to connect to yourself spiritually.
That community aspect's so important as well, because like you said before, so many people are doing it on their own, they're doing it alone, and it's so much easier when you're around like-minded people that are there to support and where you're coming from. And
yeah, of course it is. Most people are so lost. They when you've had to deal with so much tragedy that you're witnessing on the TV, what's being projected to you, this is happening, that war, that child, that rape, this murder, it puts you into a state of, oh my, you just close down. We're not meant to live our lives closed down. We're meant to live our lives. We didn't come here to play small, so we've become vibrant, loving, healthy beings. But most people don't know where to turn. So at the end of it, we will leave in the comments. We'll leave the hubs and the community projects that I've mentioned that you can reach out to, and to me as well, and come along and get involved within your community. Get involved with these projects, learning how to take better care of yourself, because there's so many people that want that for you, including myself, many others like me. So so where are we at now? We're at 2014. So I'm just going to go over everything that I haven't forgotten anything that I want to share, because there's so much to share.
You've covered a lot of stuff, Genevieve, very well, I might add as well. Well done.
I wanted to say this last bit is that the EMF, electromagnetic frequency, that we are under at the moment causes massive oxidative stress on the body, which causes our soft muscle tissue to spasm. So you may find suddenly you're getting like chest pains or stomach aggravation more than you would normally. This is because of the EMF effect on our bodies that we're witnessing at the moment, and it's really stories that I'm hearing. So it's really important that you get into your breath connection to really bring the oxygen flooding all the way through your body, so that you can really and when your body is oxygenated properly as well, that you will be able to think clearer. You'll be able to feel clearer. You can get in contact with your Gnostics. Said that many ancient literature, the word spiritus means spirit. Yes, spirit, and what it means is breath of life. So the more you connect to your breath of life, your sacred life force, and you get in tune with your spirit, you will get more in tune with every spirit around you and connect to whatever your belief system is, to spirit, to the divine, because we are divine beings.
Beautiful manifestations of existence. That's what I like to say.
Yes,
exactly that. Yeah.
So I wanted to say before we start, so we've got about 14 minutes, is that when you talk, when you set intention, energy flows where attention goes. So your body listening is listening to you all the time. So when I do this breath connection, and I would talk to you, and then get you to do breath holds. Hold, and also what I say is, if you've got high blood pressure, don't do the breath holds. Just stay with the intention. So if you have high blood pressure, don't do the breath holds. When I say breathe in, hold into that space, then release it and just stay with. But stay with the intention as I'm guiding you through this practice.
Okay.
So
we're going to start now then with the
start now.
So everybody is that watching, if you want to get prepared, or if you want to join in with this.
Very short, beautiful connection to yourself and all that is. So if you gently closing your eyes, putting your hands on your knees, and even if you've got a good support, lie straight back, or if you feel if it's more comfortable to lay on the floor, you can lay down. So find a comfortable position, closing your eyes. Or just to tune into your body now. Become the ultimate observer. Just noticing without judgment. Noticing any tightness and tension. Noticing the sounds around you. And sensations that may be occurring in your body. Just noticing without judgment. So if you get a pain, don't think, oh, that's because I've had that accident, or this is, just observing your body, your sacred body, your system. I want to notice your breathing. So as you breathe in normally without nasal breathing, I want you to breathe in through your mouth and see where the air flows to. Follow the breath as it goes into your body and out. Just noticing nice long breath. Excuse me. Now I want you to go in for your nose. Now if you've got a deviated septum or struggle through your nose, then come in for your nose and out for your mouth. But the nose is like a muscle. The more you use it, the more it will adapt. I have a deviated septum as well. So breathe in slowly through your nose and take it into your belly. And out again, following the air, watching its journey. You may notice I breathe in sound. It's a bit like when you clean the glass. I take it in through Ujjayi breath, which is so you're breathing in. And sound. Taking it deep into your belly. And when you take the breath out, make that breath longer than the in-breath, because you want to squeeze all that old stagnant air out of your lungs, out of your right into the pit of your belly. Breathe in and out. Again. As you breathe out, allowing yourself to surrender. Remember, the in-breath is preparing your body for whatever is coming. And the exhale, calming your system. You're allowing your lungs to expand, noticing. You may notice that it doesn't feel easy to do this, but that's because your body is a survival machine and it's done this for a very long time, a certain way of breathing, and you're used to breathing in a certain pattern and only certain muscle groups would have been used. So as you breathe in through your nose, I want you to breathe into your crown chakra, which is at the top of your head. It's an energy center. Breathing into the top of your energy center. And I want you to hold. So if you can't hold and you have high blood pressure, breathe normal, regular. And just follow and repeat in your mind what I say. Remember, your body is listening. So breathe in and hold. I honor and give gratitude to the divine. I am divine. I'm connected to all of source energy. And I give gratitude. Exhale slowly out through your nose. Remember not to panic when you're holding your breath, because you will breathe again. Trust in your body. So breathe into your third eye now, which is just in the middle of your forehead. Breathe into that space, and even if you don't see it as your third eye, breathe into your forehead, into where we get a lot of tension. Breathe into that space. Through your nose and hold. I honor my consciousness. I honor my intuition, my ability to see, to understand things that I don't know why I know that I know. I honor my vision. I allow myself to have crystal clear vision with gratitude. Exhale out slowly. Then breathe deeply into your throat chakra. So breathe into your neck and hold. Hold. I honor my voice, my sound, my frequency. I love my voice, and I will speak my truth and share my heart through my words. Exhale slowly. And take a really deep breath into your heart center now. And hold. I honor my beautiful heart, for though it feels like such pain and hurts so much sometimes, I am grateful for its capacity to love and forgive. I am truly loved. Exhale out slowly. Breathe deeply into your solar plexus now. So you're going to breathe deeply into this area here. So I breathe deeply in. I honor myself. I honor my presence. I honor this moment. I honor and have gratitude for how powerful I am. Exhale slowly. Then breathing into your sacral, which is just in your pelvic area. Breathe deeply into that space. And hold. I honor my part in all of creation. I am a creator, from the divine designer, and I allow pleasure to flow through me without guilt. Exhale slowly. And breathe deeply into your root chakra at the base of your spine. And hold. I honor Mother Earth, how everything is provided for me. I am safe and rooted, and I give gratitude for my very existence, and I am. Exhale out slowly. And really bring your air into your lungs now, and acknowledging your lungs as they expand, and watching the air and the sacred prana as it fills your body. Breathe in deeply into your lungs. I honor and give gratitude for my beautiful lungs, how they hold space and help me to move through my feelings and my emotions, how they move when I cry, how they move when I sing, how they move when I'm scared, and how they soften when I'm calm. Thank you. Breathe deeply in again from your nose into the pit of your belly. Into your Buddha belly, allowing your belly to fully expand like the laughing Buddha. And exhale. Breathe deeply in again. Full belly, also from belly, ribs, and all the way up to your throat now, breathing in full. So you'll notice as well as the air goes in, that the energy will move up from the bottom of your spine. So breathe in, notice this as you breathe in. But the energy actually moves up if you watch. So watch the energy will move up from the bottom of your spine and will move along up through your spine. So as you breathe in, so notice as you breathe in. So your belly expands, ribs expand, and then lungs. So the energy is actually, so you're breathing in, but the energy is moving down from the center, from your root chakra, and then back out. Then it comes back down. So in, and out. Breathe in, and out. Bring your hands to heart center. Deep breath. I send you joy, courage, and peace as you remember the key parts of this practice and take it into your own journey. And thank you for joining me. Namaste.
Namaste.
Now that was actually a very short version of how lovely you can feel.
Wow.
And obviously with the first time when you get into your practice, and there's so many different breathing techniques that can help you with anxiety, help with your metabolism, help you to also people that are very underweight. That's because often your body and you can't seem to put on weight. That's because your body is too fast. Your energy is too fast. You need to slow down, slow your metabolism down, and so your body can it will help to regulate your whole system.
I noticed when I was breathing, I've got a problem, a situation with my shoulder. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I'm sure it's muscular. But it was quite interesting that it became a bit more apparent when I was doing the breathing exercises. It's quite cool.
There's a reason for that. You know the saying, carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders? Well, we tend to hold consciousness in our body. And the reason that is because we don't deal with our emotions. The brain isn't designed to deal with trauma. So whatever's happened in your life along the journey, and the things that you're witnessing. The brain is designed to get you from A to B. It's not designed. It's not designed to deal with emotions and to deal with trauma. So what it does is it witnesses something, and it's like, and it'll push it into the body.
Yeah.
Now, for animals, you'll notice in the animal kingdom, if they have any trauma, if they're chased, or if they go through any of those experiences, once they're in a safe environment, you see them, they're shaking.
Shake it out. Yeah.
They're shaking out the trauma. They're bringing their nervous system back down into rest and digestion.
I'm guessing we must have done that before, that shaking.
Yes, I do. Some of the practices I do, I get people to shake, and it can release so many emotions. It's unbelievable how much we don't realize what we're holding on to, because our brains are survival machines. And what I will say as well is that this is also connected to emotional eating. Many of us, many addictions have all started and stemmed from our reaching out and using food to nurture ourselves. Because food gives us a quick fix dopamine hit. And so when we are dealing with trauma or triggers, and so the brain doesn't know, and it's something called the amygdala, which deals with fight, flight, and memory. So if you are completely being triggered all the time, and you don't know how to manage those emotions, or actually get in tune with those emotions, slow down enough to really get in contact with what it is that you're feeling inside, really just holding space and allowing yourself, like you would a child, to heal, and to not hold that in your body anymore, to find the right people to talk to find the right practices to release that, and to find the right coaches. I know, so the centers that I've mentioned, we have the best healers and coaches, and also as well, money isn't an issue. It's going to be on energy banking as well. So if you happen to not have money, there's other ways that you can have your healing.
Absolutely.
It's energy banking.
I'm pleased to say I'm also now part of the CAN community, which I'm quite excited about. Yeah, definitely. It's something people should check out. Talking about, like there's going to be a lot of people watching this, Genevieve, me especially, because I'm very conscious about breathing. I can be a bit of a slow burner with things, It's like it's on the bubble, and I'm going to get into that one day, properly do it and be committed to it. And I'm really pleased you're on tonight talking about this, because this is one of the things that I want to get into. And not just for me, but for my clients as well. When I'm working with my clients, I can share this with them as well, which is going to be, spreading the word about it, and obviously helping them as well. So, like, if someone wanted to learn about this, where can they go? What can they do? Can they? I mean, any sort of training or anything?
Yes, there is training. I will, once people contact me, I can share who I trained with. I can share. Also, this is an amazing book. Now, this book wasn't written by a scientist. He's a journalist for science. So he over many years has had access to.
Genevieve. Love that book. Brilliant.
Yes, this book is incredible, and also it shares so much of what our ancient ancestors, what their breathing practices were, including the Native Americans. Why I have this, if you've read the book, you'll notice that they've got very high cheekbones.
They have, yeah.
Cheekbones. And that is there's many different stories of different people that have, through their practices and our ancestors, that actually visited the tribes. And there was about 50 tribes they taught their children to nasal breathe. So when the babies would go, they'd open their mouth, they'd close their mouth. And the tribes had very little sickness. There was hardly any sickness. They had very even teeth as well. What happens when you're not breathing properly? And when you're not breathing properly and you're breathing through your mouth, not only are you causing decay, but also that because of our brain. It affects our bone structure. They've done experiments on monkeys where they plug the monkeys' noses up for 10 days. Within those 10 days, the monkey's facial features started to change. They started to hang down. This is why we have jowls. You know, when you get older and you see people that look a bit like hound dogs, it's because they've been using these like that muscles for such a long time that actually it loosens up all the muscles in our face. And so when you breathe in through your nose, you really engage your cheeks. And you'll find that when you get into your nasal breathing, you may find yourself, your cheeks ache a little bit, but that's because you are really engaging with your facial muscles that you should be engaging with, and also massively helps with your sleep apnea and any breathing issues. And like I say, I've got, if you listen to this side, I have deviated septum. And also what you can do is something is called mouth taping. And so so you can put the tape across the middle like a surgical tape, put it across the center. So if you're going to panic, because it is you're training yourself to breathe in a different way. You're learning to breathe through your nose, and so you're retraining your whole system coming out of fight and flight. And so when you breathe through so also when you dream a lot, so imagine, like, especially if you're somebody that's got a very active mind when you're sleeping and you're having lots of dreams, maybe nightmares, and you'll see people when they get rapid eye movement and you hear them like, you know, so you're having stimulation the whole time, and this is affecting your health even while you sleep. So when you start learning if you take your mouth, you can buy my daughter Mary, she bought someone, they're called Myo tape, and and you can put them around your mouth, and it stops your mouth muscles from moving automatically to some people just their heads, so it keeps your mouth stationary. And she said that it's really like her dark rings aren't under her eyes anymore. All her life she's had very dark rings under her eyes. And so so you're getting optimal breath even when you're sleeping, when you're in your dreamscape.
I must get some of that tape. I must get some of that tape, Genevieve, because I am aware when I'm sleeping. I'm definitely mouth breathing. I'm sure I am.
My daughter's 12. She started to tape her mouth up as well.
Yeah. What's that stuff called again? The tape that
it's called Myo tape. But I've been using this. I haven't got Myo tape, so I've been using this pink tape that I've got, and I literally tear off a big blob of it, and I literally tape myself up. And I wake up feeling much more like a more rested, calmer, because I'm using my nose to breathe, which is what I should be using. Often you will look at babies when they're breathing; they're not laying there with their mouths wide open.
No.
They tend to breathe through when they breathe very calmly, unless they are congested. And often that congestion is coming from the food. So when they're congested, they convert to mouth breathing. But even when, this book as well, I really highly recommend this book. It's by James Nestor. James Nestor. You can look at a lot of his YouTube videos. Incredible man. I've read this book twice because there's just so many.
I'll read mine again, to be honest, because I read it about a year ago. I've been slacking.
Yeah, do the research, research and get into. There's so many different beautiful practices, and also through our centers, you can, and through our centers and through different, there's different avenues. Also come to my breath connection classes, and come and get involved. And also I can travel as well. I can travel to come and show people how to get into more positive.
How can people get in contact with you? Because at the minute you haven't got a working website, have you? You were talking about.
No, my website is actually I can't access it for some reason. So my friend that done the website for me, because I'm not a very techie person, so she's looking at it. So what I'll do is but they can email me. So I will leave my email, or unless anyone wants to take it now, it is divine you breathe in space at outlook.com.
I'll tell you what,
if you'd like to ask about the centers, like to see me in person, come along to one of the.
Just tell me the email again. I'll type it out. We have to do it slow.
Email is divine.
Okay, hold on. Divine. Y-O-U.
Y-O-U.
Yeah.
Breathing space. So
breathing. Yeah. Breathing.
Divine breathing space at outlook.com. So we hold deep dynamic
right.
Pardon?
See if I've spelled it right.
So it's divine, DIVINEYOU breathing space at outlook.com.
Is that good? What I've done on there? I think that's right, isn't it?
No, it's a DIV.
Damn.
DIV.
Right. Don't worry, we can change that. Just very easy, like this.
If you message me there, and then tell me your name, where you saw me, and then I will connect you through my email. Divine You Breathing Space at outlook.com. Yep.
Woohoo! We got there.
Yes, these amazing projects that happen within our communities, and they're happening. It is unbelievable the amount of people that are coming together to help each other to thrive and become the best version of themselves.
That's what it's all about, Jan. Being the best version of ourselves. That's how we change the world. We can all change the world by just being the best versions of ourselves every moment. You know?
Yes, exactly. And you know what? It's like this. It's not scary. I mean, of course, life has its challenges, but life is absolutely beautiful when you are around the right people and have the right resources and eating the right food, knowing how to grow your own food. Life is very rich.
And being in the moment, you know, like today I went on a drive and I was aware of the trees and the birds flying by. I was just aware of everything around me, and it's just.
Yeah, and I really suggest doing this when we're driving as well. When we're driving, they call it like driving apnea or computer apnea, because we tend to hold our breath when we're about to overtake someone. Remember, when we're driving, imagine originally in tribes, we weren't going that fast.
No.
So we're going super fast, and we're literally scanning to make sure we don't hit anyone else when we're driving. And what we tend to hold our breath. We're like, you watch yourself as you overtake. It's rare that we actually breathe when we're overtaking. If we're looking through our emails, we tend to pause. And then, or if we're in the middle of sometimes when we're conversing, we stop breathing. So every now and again, and you can do this, if just 3 minutes of doing this, reminding yourself, you could even put an alarm on your phone to remind yourself to come back to your center, to come back to do some nasal breathing. And what it does is it alkalines your blood.
That's a bloody good idea, actually. You could do that with your phone, couldn't you? Having a little alert, maybe 5 or 6 times a day. I'm going to do that.
Yes, and
just a little alarm going off. Time for some conscious breathing.
Yeah, 3 minutes just to connect to yourself, to
absolutely
just honor be becoming aware of yourself, to unplug and plug into yourself. And the more you plug into yourself, the more you will plug into everything that is important outside of you, rather than being in this fear-based place where we're just so on edge, we're so wondering what's coming next. You know, so in planning, doing, we're not rarely are we just being. And that's where you get the answers, when you slow down. And also as well, I will say is for anyone that believes in spirit and psychic connection, it is a wonderful tool for connecting spiritually from a psychic level. The more you get into your breathwork practice, you'll find your vision becomes more clear.
Wow, amazing. That's really cool,
Genevieve. Most people aren't in tune with their own spirit. So how can you tune into other spirits if you're not even slightly connected to yourself? People say, I want to be able to see other spirits or connect to other realms, however it is anyone believes, whatever your belief system is. I want to be able to experience things more deeper. I want to be, wondering, where are we from? How many are there other dimensions, etc. But we have all this wonder, but we're not even slightly in tune with this, with our sacred prana, with the one thing that as soon as and your umbilical cord is cut too early, the umbilical cord should never be cut. Yeah, it should be. If you look into ancient literature, the placenta would come out and actually it would stay with us for days as well. Some people might think, oh, that sounds awful. So what happens is when it's prematurely cut, it's cut, and so all the stem cells that would be transferring from the placenta into the baby as the baby's ready to start its solo life outside of its mother's protection. The stem cells do not go through the umbilical cord because it's disconnected. And so our immune system, from the word go, is compromised. And then you start putting the toxic food in the system. And what our beautiful babies and children are having to breathe in the environment is also massively adding to children's health conditions.
Absolutely.
So even children to breathe deeper.
Let's all go natural, everybody, and get rid of the big pharma. We don't need them, So all the shit they give us leads on to more shit. Basically, it's been educated out of us. We need to, like you said before, we spend most of our times, or most people spend most of the times outside of themselves. Not enough time inside of themselves. They're always looking for something outside of themselves and you'll never find it. It's all within.
Well, because often that comes from frustration because they don't know how to stop this madness that they're witnessing. From that perspective, if you're dealing with like looking at horror, it's like looking at a horror film happening right before your eyes, and there's nothing you can do about it. So when you feel that you are helpless and you can't do anything about it, then you disconnect. You shut down.
And that all boils down to a lack of education. And we need to step back into our power.
Yes, of course we do. Exactly. And and then the more that we connect to ourselves, the more we connect to ourselves, we connect to our brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And realize actually, and the more and breath is energy, and the more that you energize your body, the more clarity you'll get, the clearer your mind will become, the more you will feel life, because we've become so disconnected from ourselves, from each other. And this was not the way it's meant to be. This is such, nature provides. Look at nature. Look at the community within the animals. Look at the animal tribes. And when you look at and how they work in unison, and when we come back to our tribes, when we come back to community and unity, everything that we think that we need, everything that we've been told we need, consumerism, the crap food that we're being given, and everything, people will realize that there's a whole different way of experiencing this beautiful existence.
What a great way to end our chat with that. I love it. Genevieve, it's been incredible. It's been such a joy to have you on here. I know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to benefit from this. And for a lot of people, it's going to be the first time they've heard anyone talk about conscious breathing. So, they can go off and discover it more and hopefully start utilizing it. So I just want to say a big thank you to you for coming on and sharing it.
Thank you for having me.
We've had quite a few viewers that have joined in with the breathwork exercise, the breath connection exercise, and they enjoyed it. So
yes, lovely. And also as well is that I've been a bit sorting out I've been moving and also getting involved with lots of community projects. But I will regularly be giving a breath connection session, which I do through Messenger. So if everyone messages me, they can message me, they can send a message to Messenger and connect with me that way, or they can send a message to my email and then get involved with my breath connection sessions. And then if they want to come further or a private one-to-one,
that'd be something I'd personally like to do with you, definitely.
Yes, lovely.
It's something I'm going to be actively getting, because I've been making quite a few changes in my life, and it's all good. It is all good, man. All good. Okay, well, look, we're wrapping it up, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the talk. Once again, thanks to Genevieve. It's such a joy to have you here. No, absolute pleasure. And thank you, everyone, for watching. And I'm back on here again on the 1st of October with a guy called Mark Shepherd, who's an acupuncturist, and he's going to share the benefits of acupuncture and what all that's about. So that's going to be quite interesting for people. So thank you for watching, and we'll catch you again soon. So bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.